𝙎𝙥𝙬𝙗 swings in and out. Casa Creed, Happy Romance, 𝙤𝙤. There comes Taxi Wala. Casa Creed went in. They've unloaded 𝙢𝙯𝙤. The Case of You now being led forward. Emirati Anna and Happy Romance. Emirati Anna moves in. Happy Romance. There comes 𝙤𝙤. Still got 𝙤𝙤𝙤 to bring up. Case of You, another one still to come forward. 𝙤𝙤𝙤. Just checking out 𝙢𝙯𝙤 here. The Case of You. Now the Sion is ready. Quite stop-start behind the stalls here. So 𝙢𝙯𝙤 now being led forward again. So everything in order. A Case of You needs to load. 𝙤𝙤𝙤 and 𝙤𝙤𝙤. Here's 𝙤𝙤𝙤. 𝙤𝙤𝙤, the last one. 𝙢𝙯𝙤. Set for a start. Gates are back and they sprinting away. Get Smokin' jumped inwards but propelled itself to the early lead. 𝙤𝙤𝙤's in the white colours directly behind. 𝙢𝙯𝙤 in the greys towards the far side, followed by 𝙤𝙤𝙤 in the blue jacket and the red cap, joined by Naval Crown, whose arms up the far side. 𝙤𝙤𝙤's in the yellow and green colours. Emirati Anna got just ahead. Louder Sion, then comes Happy Romance. They race in the middle of the course. Hard up on the outside, Man of Promise in the all blue, kept company by Creative Force, Taxi Wala. Now they all in a bunch. They followed by 𝙤𝙯𝙤, who's next best. A Case of You under the outside rail, banging contention. The pink colours of Casa Creed is towards the end of the field. They're halfway through the 𝙢𝙯𝙤 sprint, and 𝙤𝙤𝙤 towards the far side. I'd say he's just about the leader. 𝙤𝙤𝙤, Man of Promise. Then comes a Case of You, who's getting into the hunt as well. Happy Romance, a chance in between runners. Further back then to Emirati Anna and Taxi Wala past the 200. A Case of You lays it down to Man of Promise. Man of Promise trying to get on terms. A Case of You got him on the ropes. Then comes Happy Romance. A Case of You, though, comes home to win the 𝙢𝙯𝙤. A Case of You won it. Happy Romance second. Man of Promise third. Fourth close, Naval Crown, Casa Creed involved. Taxi Wala. Then came 𝙤𝙤𝙤. They were ahead of 𝙤𝙤𝙤. 𝙤𝙤𝙤 was next to finish. 𝙤𝙤𝙤. Louder Sion, 𝙢𝙯𝙤𝙤. They were ahead further back of Creative Force, Emirati Anna, 𝙤𝙯𝙤, and Get Smokin'.
An Irish winner. Fantastic. A Case of You. He's a classy colt. He won the Prix de l'Abbé. He chased a Man of Promise here last time. That form has been emphatically reversed. William was never able to get there. A Case of You has won that very, very nicely.
No, just follow the stand side all the way through. And, I mean, as soon as the front runner started backing up a little bit, you saw Ronan just kind of start asking them and picking it up. And when they passed us word about the furlong pole, maybe a little bit further out, and, I mean, Case of You was going to go right by and go right to the winner's circle. And, I mean, so happy for trainer Adam McGuinness. He really wanted this one really, really bad. He thought he was live in the Breeders' Cup last year, thought the distance was a little too short for him, and this has been his goal. He got enough out of that prep race. I mean, he flew at the end of the race last time. Everyone was just looking at Man of Promise, but he was flying to get up for second. And, man, just congratulations to all the connections there on A Case of You.
Yeah, owned by Gary Devlin. Adam McGuinness, as you mentioned, been a big supporter of the Dubai Carnival. He brought over two, Pierre Lapin and Harry's Bar, and neither really did a great deal, if we're honest. Harry's Bar did go home and win since, though, which was good. And then this was the big one, and they always had a plan. He said, we're coming to the Älvkvarn, we're going to prep for the prep, which is what they did with that little race he won at Dundalk. And that was a very, very good performance. I don't want to take any shine off it, but the rail was undoubtedly a help.
It certainly looked that way, but I mean, credit, by the way, to Happy Romance getting up for second there, passing Man of Promise in the last 50 yards to get up for second.
Yeah, she's such a good filly, isn't she? That's the second time that she's landed a big check, but sadly not being able to win. Happy Romance, obviously third, as we mentioned, the 13.51 in Saudi, and gone one better than that here. And no show from Creative Force, but Naval Crown finished fourth for Charlie Appleby, just ahead of the US Raider Casa Creed.
And those are the horses that had the form, those are the horses that had been running. It just seemed like it was a little too tough coming off the layoff. I thought the horse would be kind of more ready to fire a big one.
So great story. A KCU was a buyback by Connections, I think for just €3,000. And he has now won them 2 big races, and he's already confirmed as a stallion. You know, he won, as I said, that Prix de l'Abbé, which is probably the best sprint, certainly the best 5 furlong sprint in Europe. And now he's come over here, vastly different circumstances, and won this. Prix de l'Abbé's always run on very soft ground, heavy as it was last year. 5 furlongs, Parry Longchamp. Comes here, fast ground, 6 furlongs. What a versatile horse.
I think it really fits him. I mean, his turn of foot really takes off on that hard, firm ground. He's not really slipping and sliding. He was just cruising, running right by us.
Rona Whelan had a little spell over here a few years ago. Managed to get 3 winners during that time. Well, this will be one of the biggest wins of his career, up there with the Prix de l'Abbé victory, of course. And they kept him pretty busy, as you mentioned. They went over to the Breeders' Cup after that. He ran an excellent 5th behind Golden Pal. And then that race at Dundalk, and then this one. And cameras. It's wonderful to have an Irish winner of this race. Soul Power would, I think, be the most recent one to score from the Emerald Isle with Richard Hughes a few years ago.
And is this something where we might see a rematch between Golden Pal and A Case of You in Ascot in a few months' time?
It could well happen, couldn't it? I mean, they'd actually have a choice of races for A Case of You, I'd say. They could go to the newly renamed Platinum